I'd like to reframe this question of high-speed rail. I think it has a much bigger impact. It is really, in the end, the foundation of the American dream. How we move around frames up the kinds of communities we build. So I think that we're undershooting when we think of high-speed rail and infrastructure investments merely as a technology to move people. It is the thing that lays the groundwork for the kind of communities that are possible. And it's not just transit-oriented development at the station itself. It's a whole web of land use patterns that grow out of that today have to fit with our economics and our demographics in a more profound way. We have a whole series of metrics that come into play. It's not just the cost difference between the high-speed rail and new airports and highways. It's the cost difference between two different lifestyles that will inevitably emerge. We've overbuilt sprawl. It's going to take a decade to absorb the overhang of where we are today. There's no demand for any more of it. And so the question really is, where do we go? How many of you know about the Walk Score? It's a computer site you can go to. Only one person, you all got to go. Just look it up, check it out. Check out where you're living. It'll tell you how walkable your neighborhood is. There's now a high correlation between real estate value and walk scores, interestingly enough, across the country. But here's access, convenience, walkability, transit accessibility. These are the things that people need and want in their life today. And we need to build the backbone framework for that to exist. And this kind of thing works in the marketplace. That's the good news. Diverse housing stock, from townhomes to small lot, to affordable, but key, of course, is walkable destinations, a community where kids are safe, getting on their bike and going to school and going to the park by themselves. This is what people want, and this is the armature that we need. Family. We're not stealing the American dream, as many conservatives like to argue, but the amount of land consumed drops by 2/3. Now, for most environmental, building energy consumption goes way down. Our need for new power plants go way down. Why? 4 walls takes more to heat and cool than 2 walls, say, in a townhouse, or 1 wall in a condominium. There's simple geometric phenomena here at work that you can measure pretty simply and pretty directly. For California is another huge variable. But these are all linked. People tend to debate these politically as isolated issues. You guys are arguing about for high-speed rail. Somebody else is arguing for ag land preservation. Somebody else is arguing for affordable housing. They need to see that there's this underlying fabric that weaves all these issues tightly together. And then there are even more implications. Somebody mentioned the issue of highway fatalities in comparison to rail. Well, air quality impacts common health, and we can measure the cost savings in that area. There's a whole other one that has to do with obesity and diabetes, which is linked to the amount of everyday exercise we get. A little walking here and there from and to the station can have a big health impact on human health. So there are all these issues, and then of course the one that we think about on a global scale, the carbon emissions, multiplied many times over. Don't just calculate the energy and carbon savings of the individual piece of technology. Calculate the impact that will have over a whole range of other considerations. In 1989, we did the regional plan for Portland. It was the first time we linked transit-oriented development with shifting funds to rail as opposed to highways. And the numbers are in. This is VMT per household on average. In 1990, we did the plan. 93, it was adopted. By 96, the average vehicle use started to fall in Portland and has fallen ever since. This is no longer hypothetical. These differences are monumental, meaningful, and of course in Portland it's not as if people have fallen away because they no longer get to build and they're no longer dominated by large lot single family in the suburbs. As a matter of fact, their economy is healthier than most because of this more robust land use pattern.